I'm Paul Kurgis. I'm the acting provost and dean of the Blewett School of Law here at the University of Montana. With President Seth Bodner, Professor Megan Stark, and ASUM President Braden Fitzgerald, I am a co-convener of our University Planning Committee. The University of Montana has seen a sustained decline in enrollment over the past 5 years. Overall, our enrollment is down by almost 30%. Over that period of time, we've actually increased the number of programs that we offer. Our faculty has declined largely through attrition, but total faculty has declined by less than 10%, and tenured and tenure-track faculty has declined by less than 5%. This has put the university in an unsustainable financial situation. We are looking at a $10 million structural budget deficit. President Bodner has tasked the UPC with a two-part charge to first identify programs and areas across the university where we can achieve strategic budget savings, and second, to chart a path forward so that Montana's flagship university is able to meet the needs of our students and our state while placing us on a sustained path for future growth and development. Building on the work of previous strategic planning and prioritization processes, the UPC split into two subgroups. The first worked on crafting a new mission and identity for the university, while the second focused on identifying areas across campus where we could achieve budget savings through strategic reallocation. I'll focus in this video on the work of the second subgroup and specifically on the process that we used to identify programs for potential curtailment, discontinuance, or reorganization. We made a decision earlier in our analysis to focus at this point in the process on the undergraduate and graduate programs on the Mountain campus. We divided our work into two stages. In stage one, the UPC data analysis subgroup looked at a broad array of data across campus on every academic degree granting program, and using a blind analysis, selected a large number of programs, about 47% of all programs on campus, for further consideration in stage two. Stage two has followed with President Bodner, myself, incoming Provost John Harbour, and deans working both together and individually to add the qualitative analysis that will tell us which of our programs fit in with our mission and identity best, which ones we can afford to identify budget savings, and which ones we need to target for development and growth. To do our analysis, we combined the data into a Tableau interactive graphic, which you can see by clicking the link below this video. When you click the link, you'll see a graphic that looks like this. And I'll explain this. Before I do, I want to re-emphasize that when the UPC data subgroup did its preliminary analysis, we did not have the identifying information showing the names of the programs. We did our analysis blind, and we substituted a generic numeric indicator for the names of the programs. Now we have added the names to the programs, and that's what you'll see when you click that link. Now, the Tableau graphic contains an enormous amount of information, some of it visually depicted and others that you can see by hovering over the dots and clicking on the buttons at the bottom of your screen. Initially, you'll see that we have a table laid out with an X and a Y axis. On the vertical axis, we have cost per student credit hour. That's a measure effectively of the efficiency of the program, how expensive it is to deliver that education. Along the horizontal axis, we have the programs arranged in different ways depending on which button at the bottom you click. The view you are seeing here is the farthest button to the left. This is a combined analysis of enrollment. It includes majors, degrees awarded, and student credit hours. And those are weighted so that majors get 25%, degrees get 25%, and student credit hours get 50%. We did that to give us a way to look at all programs together on one enrollment metric that combined as many data points as possible. But you can also sort by any of those individual metrics, majors, degrees awarded, or student credit hours by clicking these buttons at the bottom of your screen. The data points in the tableau contain visual information in the form of the size of the dots and the color of the dots. Size indicates the potential budget impact, and we calculated that by taking an average salary across the university, which we estimated to be about $50,000, with benefits rising to about $62,000. And we multiplied that by the number of faculty FTE in that program. That was intended to give us a sense of how much budget savings we might realize from the curtailment, discontinuance, or reorganization of a particular program. The color of the dots represents the relationship to the Delaware data on cost per student credit hour at similar programs at other universities across the country. If the dot appears red, that means that the program has a significantly higher cost per student credit hour than the norm. If it's yellow, that means a somewhat less but still higher cost per student credit hour. If it's light green, slightly lower, and if it's dark green, then significantly lower than the average cost per student credit hour under the Delaware data. When you hover over a dot, you'll see a box pop up that contains additional information. That box contains a lot of the underlying information that went into the tableau. So it contains information on the difference between that program and the Delaware norm, for example, the budget impact in actual dollars. It also contains some additional important information that we looked at, including grant funding, because we wanted to know which programs on campus were bringing in grant-funded dollars. And it also includes information on the mix of resident, non-resident, and WUI students, because that tells us important information about the potential for the program to generate revenue for the university. If you click on the links here, you can sort the table by the Delaware information. So if you click the red button there, you'll see only the programs that come out as significantly above the Delaware data on that cost comparison. And then again, if you click the buttons on the bottom, you'll see the table sorted differently by the horizontal axis. You can sort by instructional FTE, instructional cost, and the measures of enrollment that I described earlier. The page shown here is the page for undergraduate programs. If you click the radial button there, you can toggle back and forth between undergraduate and graduate programs. We looked at the two separately for purposes of this analysis. Same information is contained for the graduate programs and the same way of working with the tableau. Clicking here to sort by that metric, clicking along the bottom to sort by the different measures of enrollment and faculty cost and numbers of FTE. Now, the data that we're using here will go into the stage 2 analysis, and as a result of the stage 2 analysis, we will put forward a preliminary list of recommendations. That is a preliminary list at this stage, and we will be seeking campus feedback. Both comments, are there aspects of this process that we need to think about differently? Questions about the data, questions about the process. We look forward to receiving those, and we have provided a feedback form on the University Planning Committee website for you to give us that input, whether it's comments or questions. We look forward to receiving those, and we will be taking the next few weeks to look at those, process them, rethink our analysis, and make sure that what we are doing will in fact set the University of Montana on a sustained path for growth and excellence. Thank you.